Hi everyone, I am Mary O'Dwyer, the owner of the Breath of New Life, where we are your Ascension guides. And what that means is that we help you rise above all the things, all the disturbances that are happening on the planet, all the changes that we're all having to navigate through, as well as any changes that you may be navigating in your personal or professional life. Empty nesting, unexpected loss of a loved one, a friend, a home, a job, a career, a hope, a dream, all of that. And my mission with this YouTube channel, I suppose, are these messages is to give you some breathing tips to regulate yourself throughout the day. Breath work is the foundation of all of the work that I do with my one-on-one clients, but I also do a lot of coaching. And so I want to be able to share some nuggets that I teach my clients, because I know that the issues that they're coming into me with are not unique to them. We're all experiencing all sorts of things happening in our lives, and we all are, conditioned to respond to certain things in certain ways. And so just by shifting our perspective, sometimes it can really help us to at least, loosen our grip on some of those conditioned responses, right? So that's my goal. And today, what I want to do is I wanted to talk about couple of difficult things that have been happening in my life. I've experienced 3 losses in the last month. 2 were through extended family members. One lost his mom. She was in her 90s. Another family member lost a baby that they were about to adopt through a stillborn death. And then another very close friend lost her husband very unexpectedly, completely out of the blue. And of those 3 deaths, the husband of my friend was the one that rattled us the most. This was a gentleman who similar age to me, was fit, active, no health issues, always a great guy, great dad, great husband, all the things, right? And it just, when things like that happen, it really shakes your whole foundation. And there's a part of you that wants to question everything, like, how did this happen? How was this fair? And some people are going to respond to that and be like, why am I doing all this healthy stuff if I could drop dead anyhow? And to that I say, well, that man lived up till he'd just gotten home from the gym. So he lived all of his life fully, completely, every single day, day in, day out. And so that's the reason I choose to stay eating healthy and staying fit, so that whenever my day comes to suddenly go, I'll have lived to the best of my ability every single day up to that point. And then there's those of us who see that and we start to question, what am I doing with my life? Am I doing what I love to do? Am I fulfilled? Am I just a cog in a wheel? Am I just going through the motions? And I know my husband and I are definitely evaluating that, looking at, okay, what are the things in the work that we do that we love, and what are the things that we're not doing? And that actually has prompted me to start this channel, because one of the things I love most to do is teach, and yet I spend so much time, working with my one-on-one clients and doing my group sessions and doing my weekend programs and all of that I don't do maybe as much teaching as I would like. So there's part of me, I need to do more teaching. So here we are. So thank you to my dear friend for, I'm going to take a moment. Thank you to my dear friend for providing me with the impetus to create that self-reflection. And then there's others of us that are going to look at an unexpected loss out of the blue and go, how could God make this happen? Who deserves this? What kind of a God would take a dad away unexpectedly from his wife of 32 years and 3 children, 3 young men that are just starting their life, reaching into adulthood, one of them just 2 weeks away from their high school graduation? And to that, what I would say is I'm just going to share with you our experience after the death of our friend. So one of the first things that I noticed, I was one of the first people to the house after it happened, and the neighbors started to come out. And of course there was lots of cops there, paramedics, the whole shebang, right? And what the cops and the paramedics didn't know was that those neighbors weren't looky-loos. This family lived in a beautiful community where that street celebrated every holiday together. They were out there at Christmas Day having block parties. Whoever was around got to come out and hang out on the street. 4th of July party, they had a 4th of July parade. They still do every year. And we've been part of that many years. I don't live in the neighborhood, but I'm just, a neighbor by default. They've adopted me. And these neighbors celebrate Memorial Day, St. Patrick's Day, Labor Day. And so all of these neighbors weren't out being looky-loos. They were genuinely like, what is going on at this home? Because this was their friend and they cared about him. And then a few hours later, this gentleman was retired military and retired police. And as the coroner was taking his body, the firefighters had bought a flag to put over the body bag. I'm going to be a little emotional. And as they were taking the body out to the coroner's van, there was a plethora of sheriffs and PD, and they were lining the driveway all the way to the coroner's van. And all the neighbors were out lining the street as the procession of the coroner's van with the police motorcade before it and behind it, escorting it. And in that moment, what I witnessed was the beauty of all of these people coming together. Like a lot of those police and sheriff, they didn't know Dan personally because he'd been retired for a few years. But he was one of them. And what it was the divinity in them that drew them in and knew that they needed to be there to support this family. While some of them knew Dan very personally, they'd been his partner, they'd worked with him for years and years and years, some didn't, and yet they still were there. And the same with those neighbors. When they heard, the neighbors started calling each other, they all dropped their jobs, left work early, and got there to be on the street, to be there for this family. And there was people in that house until, I think I left about 9:30, and there was people that stayed till like 11:30, until it was time for everyone to go to bed. And so, even in times of tragedy, there can be a beauty when we can see Spirit, God, the universe, working to bring us together. And I've been reading and immersing myself in the study of 2 books. One is called the I Am Discourses, and the other is called I Am Word. And they both teach this idea that I am, or the Word, is invoking God in action within us. So when we say I am tired, I am energized, I am great, I am sick, we are invoking the power of God. So word, I am word, that's the same. It's word is God in action. And so what I saw that day was God in action, drawing all of these people in. And then starting on the day after the gentleman died, started to plan the funeral. And the funeral was going to be planned for a week later. And the venue fell through. And so that was okay. Suddenly another venue appeared, and we took that venue. But then this venue didn't have all the tables and chairs. But suddenly this other, I don't want to say a vendor, this other community had tables and chairs that were available for loan. Awesome, they became available. And then how were we going to get those tables and chairs to the venue? And then there was a neighbor that is a mover, and he had a van. And so he did the moving. And then we needed AV equipment, and there was a neighbor that used to own an AV company, and she provided that. She called them up, got the AV equipment. She's like, I got the equipment, but I have no tech. And then there was a student who went to school with this man's sons, and he's a tech whiz. So he got a call, and he's like, I'll be there. And that kept happening over and over and over. People kept showing up. What can I do? And we would ask them questions. Are you crafty? What are your skill set? And they would tell us, and then we're like, okay, could you get the tablecloths? Hey, could you be in charge of the food? Hey, could you be in charge of the flowers? Hey, could you be in charge of doing this? Could you be in charge of... And everybody kept coming together. And it was the beauty of seeing God in action within each of those people. The divinity within each of them coming together to serve this family. And we were all in and out, and we were taking care of business so that the widow, the spouse, did not have to have the headaches of like, oh my gosh, where's the venue? We were able to source all of this stuff and then just come to her and say, hey, this is what we have. Does that sound good? So she could be with herself. She could be with her children. She could be with her loved ones that were just there to give her love and support. And I remember at some stage during that week, asking her, sitting with her. We had maybe 10 or 15 minutes of quiet time. And as you can imagine, it was a really chaotic week. And I asked her, I said, has it been too much? Are we just too much coming in and out? Are we just kind of putting too much information on you? Do you want us to back off? Like, what can we do? How can we best support you? And she looked at me and she said, oh my gosh, Mary, I feel so supported. Me and my boys, we feel so supported. And that is how God supports us. The universe, spirit, whatever your terminology is. That is how we are supported in times of crisis. And I want you to know that that support is there for you too. And sometimes we don't know how to access it. And so that's what we're here at The Breath of New Life to help you do. So tune into these messages. You're always going to get a good nugget. I'm going to try and keep them short. I love to talk too, so we'll see how well that goes. Stay tuned for Monday meditations. They'll be coming soon, and there may be some meditation recordings that I will be sharing with you. I will be sharing videos on breath tips and techniques, different techniques that you can just tune in and listen to and just practice some breath so that you can really start to become present within yourself and start to access the divinity within yourself, that eternal part of yourself that's always been here and always will. So, from my heart to yours, thank you for listening, and keep breathing.